Annual barbecue. We did a chili cook-off.
Yeah.
Now we have, I don't know,
Mini bananas.
mini bananas. So,
Oh, it says we're live now.
are we? Sweet.
Facebook says
All right. So, my name's Brian Nichols. You probably got that if you came to church this morning. This is my lovely wife, Erica.
Good morning.
And we are the lead. Our titles are technically, I'm the lead pastor at Coastline, and Erica is the communications director.
Yes.
I refer to her as lead pastor as well, just because we've kind of started this together. And if I have a great idea, 99% of the time it came from her. It's her idea. I'm just pitching it with my voice. So, but we've been leading Coastline now for
almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. I feel like you're kind of behind me a little bit. Come up here. For almost 3 years, October 10th.
15.
What's the date? October 15th will be our 3rd year anniversary, which is, we're really excited about that. Thank you so much. We normally do a cookout. We're not doing a cookout. So we're just going to do a little worship gathering, and it'll be a fun time still. But we started in a little living room just a few years ago of one of our elders' houses on the beach side. And we started getting together and putting plans and trying to figure out, like, man, what does it look like to start a church here in New Smyrna Beach. Erica and I are from Volusia County. We're Volusia County natives, born and raised. We grew up in Ormond, just a few miles south of here, north of here. We came here for date night. I came down here for fishing when Mosquito Lagoon was like the place to go fish, and kind of just fell in love with New Smyrna. And so when it came time to plant a church, this is where we live. We wanted to do a church in New Smyrna. This is where we call home. And so we started out in a small little living room, quickly outgrew that, and moved to a little elementary school on the beach side called Coronado Elementary. And on grand opening day, we had kind of done like some soft launches before. We had kind of met with a small group in the living room. But on grand opening day, as church planners in our new school facility, a hurricane came and wiped us out. So we... The Volusia County canceled everything. They said, you can't meet here this week. And we had been promoting it for like 8 weeks. We were really excited about it. Come to find out the hurricane actually messed up the school. And so like we couldn't even meet there for like the next 3 weeks. So technically our grand opening got squashed by a hurricane. We didn't do grand opening. And for the next 3 weeks, like we had to hop and skip to different parts of the community to meet as a church. And so we had this running joke, like, if you can find Coastline, you're welcome to come, but we wouldn't know where we were going to meet for until 3 days before or so. But God opened up a fantastic door at that same time. There was a church that was meeting in here in this auditorium. It's called Church at the Beach. A pastor named Ken Kennerly, great dude. And he came to me, he said, man, I feel like God's telling me I'm supposed to move to Georgia. And I just happen to have a trailer full of church planning tools and kids ministry stuff and a truck and a trailer that you can pull it with. And at that point we had a little tiny trailer with my truck, and we were just like building things as we go. And so God used Ken and Church at the Beach to completely bless us and launch us into what is Coastline now. And so we've been here at this facility since October 15th. That's what we kind of because we were moving so quick within just a couple weeks. We actually scratched that was our grand opening, and we did an actual grand opening. So that was kind of cool. So, but yeah, we've been doing that for 3 years. We've got a great team of volunteers, a great team of staff that God's kind of placed around us during this time. Erica does communications, so anything Facebook, email related, Instagram, anything announcements, anything that actually gets spoken or communicated on behalf of Coastline, she's probably handling it. The only thing she doesn't really help out with is the preaching part, and so if I say something dumb, you can't hold it against her. It was just from me, and so she does that. Elizabeth Lincoln Holker is our connections director. Elizabeth started out at Coastline as she was one of the missionaries that we sponsored. We actually still sponsor her and her husband Dave. They have a malnutrition center down in Haiti that they're currently building. But she's been on staff now since March. She's been on staff as our connections person. So if you got an email inviting you to this or text or anything like that, it's come from her. If you're interested in circle groups or volunteering, she's definitely the person to talk to about it. And she's fantastic. She's great. Even if you just want a free cup of coffee, she'll take you to go get it. So she's good to hang. I told you about TJ a little bit. TJ can come out around the corner. This TJ he's the guy. He's our tech guy. Anything that we don't understand tech-wise, he's handling it, and we're appreciative of him. Rick is a volunteer and married to a staff member, but I kind of utilize him as a staff guy. He's just one of my best friends, and we've been doing ministry for probably 6 or 7 years together. Rick and Emily just moved back into the country from Indonesia. They were missionaries there for a long time. And then we hired on Emily as our kids pastor, which she's tearing down kids ministry. So she's probably not here. But I'm sure she'll make an appearance here before the end of our meeting. Kayla Q is our worship leader, worship director. Kayla has a great group of volunteers that help her with playing in the worship team and singing. And she's been on staff for 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, I think now.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with time.
Half.
If you'll at some point you'll understand. I'm really bad at time. But she's been here for 2.5 years now, and is just doing a fantastic job. We love having her. And then who else am I missing? TJ, Rick and Emily, Dave and Elizabeth, Jordan. Jordan is our intern. She's been interning with us for over a year now, so she helps out with. It's been over a year, right? Maybe out of a year?
No.
Okay. Terrible with time.
Yeah, feels like a year. Yeah.
The great thing is, even if I say something that's wrong, I've got a great group of team of people that tell me, no, that's wrong, let's correct. So, is there anybody else that I'm missing on staff?
No.
That's everybody.
That's it.
So, we definitely believe in that God's kind of brought us all together to cover each other's weaknesses. Every one of us have kind of a different strength. And we operate in that. We don't really bust each other's chops for where we fall short. God's allowed us to come together and cover each other's shortcomings on that. So really love our team, and I can't think of a better team to have right now in the stage of life that we're in. So God's definitely blessed us. So when we started Coastline, we primarily wanted to, real quick, by the way, I don't want to tune out the people that are online. Sean Forbes is online. I know he's watching, hanging out with us. Talked to him last night. He's our guy. He's actually in Ontario, Canada, but he kind of helps out and helps in the chat and stuff like that, and greets people and serves online from hundreds of miles away. So we're hoping to bring him down here in the next in months to come, and we'll go to Disney together or something. But when we started Coastline, we primarily wanted to do it with the purpose of reaching two types of people. And it's actually the two types of people that Erica and I kind of grew up becoming. Like, we didn't know it at the time, but as we got into ministry, we realized that we grew up, myself, as someone who was in church. My mom took us in church all the time. We went to every summer camp that you could go to. And at some point in life, I became de-churched. I kind of stepped away from religion. I stepped away from people in it, and kind of got to the point where I was like, I want to live life the way I want to live it. And so I hadn't been hurt by church, but I just disliked church. Erica grew up never going to church. Her parents maybe took her to church Christmas and Easter. We jokingly call those people CEOs. They're Christmas and Easter onlys. But didn't go to church. And so together, as we found Christ, we realized we came from a perspective of a guy that's de-churched and a girl that's unchurched. And we realized that we want to create a church that's comfortable for those people to come to. And so if someone's gone to church before and they had a bad experience or they got hurt, we want to be a place where people can find healing and people can find hope. If people have never been to church before and don't understand it, we want it to make it be an approachable place where people can come find Christ just exactly the way that they are. They don't have to put on fancy clothes. They don't have to put on a nice face. They can just come with everything that they're dealing with right now. And so, based off of that, we started putting together what Coastline is. And so, we kind of came up with not so much a formula, but maybe a path that we try to lead people down. And I think it's a path that all of us can follow in whatever walk of life that we're coming from, or whatever maturity level we are in our faith. And the path goes kind of like this. We believe that we should connect with God and each other. I think that's something that all followers of Christ should do. That's what we want to try people that are not followers of Christ. We want to help connect them to God, to Christ, and we want to help connect them with one another. And that's based off of Jesus said, if people ask him, what's the most important commandment? And he says, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And he said that those two things are equal. And it's pretty kind of humbling to think, or even empowering to think that Jesus says, you know what, love God with all that you have. But just as important as it is loving God with all that you have, it's important to love the people that are your neighbors. And so we believe that at church, at a small group, at a worship event, we're going to spend time connecting with God. We're going to spend time connecting with one another. We think it's an important part of being a follower of Christ. The second step in the path that we challenge everyone to walk through is to grow. I believe that things that are healthy grow. If our church is going to be healthy, it's going to grow. If us spiritually are going to be healthy, we're going to grow spiritually. Eric and I have two kids, Olivia and Ben. And Olivia's 6, Ben is almost 4. And I love where they're at in this stage of life right now. I hope that they don't stay there. I want to see them grow. I want to see them mature and become better. Ben has got a little bit of what would you call it, a speech issue?
Yeah.
Yeah? He doesn't talk real good. He probably gets that from me. But he has a hard time speaking, and it's cute now. And it's okay now. We're okay with it. But we're going to help him grow out of it because we want more. We want better for him. So it's kind of the same thing for us as a church. Whether it's my faith that I'm in right now, my relationship with Christ, whether it's Erica's, whether it's Olivia's, who we're just teaching about Jesus right now, we believe that those relationships should grow. We believe that our faith should grow. And so at whatever part of that you are in the path of Coastline, we want to challenge people to take the next step, grow in their faith, and grow in their relationship with God. And the last part of the path is go. So it's 3 things: connect, grow, go. Jesus, in the last words that he said to his disciples, he gave them the Great Commission, the last commandment. He said, go into all the world and make disciples, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And so we're reminded that as a church, we're not called to be like a community gathering. We're not called to be a club or hangout. But we're going to do those things. We're going to build community. But we're also called with a mission, which is to help people that are in storms of life, that are wandering, that need to find Christ. And so every part of what we do, we're going to try to make it an opportunity for us to go as a church into the community and bring people to Jesus and help people to find Him. And so a lot of that happens by what we talked about today. People stepping out of the comfort zone and serving, or people inviting someone. And so it's just a challenge for us to not just to not get comfortable, but to look out and bring people in. So connect, grow, go. Am I on a roll all right? Am I doing okay?
You're doing great.
What else am I missing?
Do you want me to talk about mission?
Yeah.
So at Coastline, we support 6 different missionaries here, both locally and internationally. So 10% of everything or it's actually more than 10%, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just over 10%.
Well, let me set that up.
Sorry.
So every Sunday we talk about worshiping through our generosity. As a church, we are going to do the same thing. And so we in the Bible it talks about a tithing principle, which tithe broken down means like 10%. 10%. We believe that as followers, like 10% of our gross income comes in. We're going to give it back to God and let Him do what He wants to do with it. A lot of people worship that way by giving to the church. Since we are a church, it's kind of hard for us to give tithe to ourselves. So we in turn give it out into missions. And so when we started, we said, we're going to take 10% of anything that comes into Coastline right off the top. We're not going to touch it. We're just going to take it and we're going to send it out to missions. A couple of them local, a couple of them abroad. And primarily, that's kind of how we got in touch with Elizabeth and Dave. That's how we got in touch with Rick and Emily, is because they were our missionaries that we helped supported. But rather than send out to a bunch of people, it wasn't a ton of money. It was, right now I think we're doing 12 or 13% of our gross income goes out to missions. But rather than it go out to a bunch of missions in a bunch of places, we said, man, we want to keep it small and we want to have an impact on their missions. And so right now we have 6 missionaries or 6 organizations that we help out. 3 of them local, 3 of them are abroad, and then we also the 7th one we help out is like benevolence, like how we would help people out. If people, if we've got a mom who her car breaks down or someone needs help moving out of a situation, we help financially with that. So what are our missions?
Yeah, so here locally we have Frog Ministries, which is a free thrift store that is in Edgewater. So people can go there no matter what their situation is, and they can get free clothing. They have like small household items, all kinds of things, and it's a completely free thrift store. So we support that. That's run by Chip and Dawn Clark. That's been in the community for a long time. So we support them. We also support Bridging the Gap, which is actually located right next door to Frog Ministries. Bridging the Gap was founded by actually a former staff member here at Coastline. His name is Eric. His wife's name is Cynthia Lancaster. And so their mission is to provide families with meals. So it's a little bit more than just a food pantry. Their goal is to help people get from where they are to where they need to be, and primarily through food and meals and feeding families.
They do offer some life coaching.
Yes.
They offer, like he helps people with resumes. He helps people fill out applications and stuff like that for jobs, also for government assistance.
They're a great resource center.
So, they're helping out people that are, a lot of times you don't realize people lose a job because their car breaks down, and they just don't have the $200 to go, putting spark plugs in it or whatever it is. And so Eric and Cynthia's hope is to help people kind of bridge that gap wherever they can. So, but primarily they do a lot of helping people with food.
Yeah, and the other local mission that we support is Open Doors Counseling Center. So they are an organization. Their mission is to provide affordable Christian professional counseling to everyone in need. So they have 3 different centers located in New Smyrna Beach, Port Orange, and Daytona Beach, and they're all Christian-based counselors that are providing affordable professional counseling to those in need in the community. So we support them because they actually work on a sliding scale for their patients, so anyone can receive counseling and it's not judged based on their income. So it's not free counseling, but it's affordable counseling for everyone.
Yeah, and so we give to kind of help subsidize people that wouldn't be able to afford it. And so Eric and I, we love people. I'm not a counselor. I'm probably one of the only pastors in around that, like, I don't have the gift of mercy. I'm like the mean guy. I'm like, suck it up, buttercup type. And that's not the guy you want to get help from when you need counseling. So we try to, point people towards Open Doors Counseling. They're fantastic. The guy who's the director is a great friend of mine. He's been a great friend for a long time. And, he's doing some amazing things. Abroad, can I do the abroad ones?
Sure.
So Rick and Emily Hilliard, they were in Indonesia. They just moved back to the States. They were one of ours. And so we're right now searching for another missionary that we're going to help out internationally. In the meantime, we've kind of just rolled over and used that money to help out with benevolence and help people in the church or in the community that need help. But Dave and Elizabeth Lincoln Holker are another one of our international missionaries. They're still actively in the mission field, although she's here today. You're heading out Thursday. She's going back. She's going to Haiti on Thursday for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whenever. She'll come back whenever. And then Kyle and Dennis Leone. Dennis and his wife Kyle. Dennis is from Costa Rica in the city of Estoril. Kyle, she's from Santa Barbara, California. They met each other, and they're church planters in his hometown of Estoril Oeste in Costa Rica. And they've been planting churches there for 12, 15 years now, to the point now where he's actually he's turned into a network where they've helped plant like 6 other churches in the surrounding communities. He's like the Paul for Costa Rica right now. He's doing fantastic things. So we support them. And I think that's it for missions. Yep. So Children's ministry, there's a couple things that we want to do well here at Coastline. There's probably 3 things that we want to really do well, and then the rest of the things we want to do good, but we're not going to really focus on because we're going to work on our strengths. Worship, we want to have fantastic worship. I'm a musician. Erica is not a musician, but she, we come from an environment a church that did worship well, and I want to do that with excellence. And so we require excellence out of the people that lead. Jordan does a great job leading. Rachel, you did a good job singing today too. Appreciate you. But we're going to do that well. And kids ministry, man, I got 2 small kids, and so I want us to have a great kids ministry, but also I'm a product of a great kids ministry. Part of the reason I'm a preacher today is because years and years ago there was volunteers that helped out in the kids ministry and taught me some of the foundational stories that I use in my messages even today. And so it's something we want to do well. And so we try to empower Emily as much as we can to give her the tools she needs to do what God's called her to do in teaching our kids. And the last one is we try to, I'm still working on it, but I want to have compelling communication. And so, with what happens here on a Sunday from what I preach, I hope that it connects to people of broad strokes in whatever walks of life and calls them to some sort of action towards Christ. That's what our hope is. So, how can you get involved? 2 things. One is circle groups. It's kind of like our small groups. We challenge everybody to join a circle group. Right now, we've got lots of them. They're meeting online. But we think it's important to build community with one another and have long-lasting relationships. And then the other one is through serving. We talked about it here this morning. You see, we got a great group of our crew right now behind us. The stage is almost probably torn down all the way. They've been packing it up. They do this every Sunday. But there's also people that do it for kids ministry. There's also people that do it for the lobby. Whenever we go back to doing coffee, we're going to have people that are brewing coffee and cleaning up coffee after church. But there's plenty of places to serve, and also we challenge people to serve outside at Bridging the Gap or Frog or wherever if they have the opportunity to. I don't want to take too much of your time because I still want to give you the opportunity to beat the Baptists to lunch. They get out in a little bit, but if you guys have questions about Coastline, you have questions about policy, you have questions about theology, you have questions that are personal for Erica and I. This is kind of an opportunity where we give people the opportunity to say it. If you got a question that you need answered or you've had thoughts about Coastline, let it fly.
And our friends online, you guys can type it in the comments and Rick will let us know what your question is if you have any.
I got an online question.
Okay.
Hit us.
So Sean wanted to ask Kayla, when it comes to worship, how do you get in that mode? How do you, see what he says, how do you organize the music set every week? Do you start with praise and then eventually just move into your worship songs?
I'll step into the frame for a minute. Hello, Sean. Right now we do have a little bit of a format that we follow. I'm not close enough. I'll just get real close with Erica.
That's not good.
Thanks. We do pretty much have a format that we follow, but week to week it just kind of depends on if we're doing like a special service or anything. I have a lot of freedom to kind of choose whatever I want to do. They don't really control me a whole lot in that area, so I like to pray about it, but typically we do, I know you kind of phrased your question specifically, we do at the beginning try to do more what you would consider praise songs, so just a way to kind of get in the building, get in the atmosphere, whatever was happening in the car on the way here or during the week, just a way for you to kind of shake it off and get your gaze right and focused on him, and then we kind of move into what is more traditionally coined like worship songs of like slower tempo and stuff like that. So yeah,
there's probably a science to it somewhere.
Probably.
But
we don't use
we
it.
Definitely, man, I'll tell you what, 9 out of 10 times on whatever Kayla's got for a worship set that Sunday, Holy Spirit's giving it to her, and it lines up almost perfectly with what I'm preaching on. So,
and we touched on it a little bit today.
There might be a day in the future where we, make that happen, in planning. But right now, it's all Holy Spirit working it out. So.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a youth ministry?
We do not right now. We do want to. We started a middle school ministry right before COVID hit, and then weren't able to do it. So we're definitely in the rebuilding phase. I got a little bit of a plan for it, but we're trying to figure out how to do it with not having a building, have limited access to this. And my hope would be here in the next weeks and months to come to start one up that would kind of be like a almost like a small group or a circle group type thing. You know, if we were to put them all together, we've probably got 10 students right now that offhand that would fit between middle school and high school, and so we definitely have opportunity to.
Do you have any young adults or upper teens who are leaders?
Man, I wish I knew somebody that could do it, but
Most of your musicians are.
yeah, no, definitely. No, actually, Rick in a former, not former life, but in the past, he was a kick butt youth pastor, and so you know, if opportunity arises here in the near future, I'd love for him to do it. We also have a student that was actually a student in both of our youth ministries that he kind of have an opportunity to possibly use him here in the near future. So it's definitely on the horizon. It's something that we, as another thing that we were a product of as well. You know, if it hadn't been for good youth pastors, probably wouldn't be here. So.
How do your small groups work for circle groups?
So, I can answer it, but part of me wants to let Elizabeth answer it. So, why don't you stand up and come up here and tell us what the deal is with circle groups?
Circle groups.
I'll get close to you.
Here, I'll tell you what.
everybody.
Sit here.
No,
Sit here next to
Stand behind
Erica.
you guys. So circle groups right now are, we have some that are online for you guys that are online, and we have some that are in person. We have them for young adults that are getting ready to start on every other Saturday, I believe. We're hammering out what coffee shop that will be at. And we have a ladies group starting at Erica's house at 10 o'clock on Thursdays. We have a ladies group online on Monday nights. We have 2 married groups that are just for married couples. We have 2 co-ed groups also. That's for singles or married women, men, whatever would have come. So we have 1 hybrid that's going to be in person and online, so people can show up. But they've been a member of that group for a while. They're not quite comfortable coming in, so they're going to kind of do a little hybrid. So the way that those work is I usually connect people, tell them like what all the groups are available, and then if you are kind of interested in a couple of them, I can kind of get to know you a little bit. I'm really sorry, my allergies are crazy. And connect you with the person that I think that you would connect with the other people in the group a little bit. So it just kind of depends on each person. Some people like just a ladies group. Oh, I forgot your men's groups.
Oh yeah.
There are men's groups too. Sorry.
I do a men's dinner group that is every other week, and then on the opposite week I do men's golf.
Yeah.
So we do like a 9-hole. We'll play 9 holes and have a little Bible study. So
we kind of have something for everybody. They're just launching this week, which is really great because you won't really necessarily feel like you've missed out on anything. So yeah.
Actually, I have a question though, probably for Elizabeth.
Yeah. Okay.
So Sue is asking, you know, with all the restrictions, is there a time frame when we'll have more opportunities to serve, like going back to coffee and stuff like that? And I'm going to kind of piggyback off that. Without those opportunities, what are some areas that people could be serving in right now?
So areas to serve in that we really always need are greeters, and in our hospitality area for setup and tear down. For children's ministry, always we need help in children's ministry, and on our tech team, we always need help. And if you're interested in hosting or co-leading a small group, we always need help with those too. Some people don't like to lead, but they have the gift of hospitality, so they might open their home and allow that to happen. So.
And that connection happens kind of the same way as circle groups. Like if someone wants to serve, we're going to put them in touch with Elizabeth.
Yep.
And figure out what the best place is for them. You know, we got sometimes in the past people have said, "Hey, I want to serve in kids ministry," and I'm like, "Well, that's great, but you're kind of mean sometimes, and I don't know if that's the best place for you. Let's find somewhere else." You know, so Elizabeth does a great job of we want people to find a place that's good for them and good for
And
the
good
people
for
that
the
we're also
ministry.
serving.
Yeah, for sure.
With that said, we're not going to kick you out of kids ministry unless we're kids ministry.
And you have to pass a background check.
Yes.
Yep.
So if you don't, you're not going to kids ministry.
No.
What other questions you got? Past, future, anything. I talked about giving before and tithing. You know, we go based off of the tither's principle of 10%, but I try to make it very comfortable for people that if they're not doing that right now, like I'm I'm not trying to convict everybody every Sunday to tithe. You know, I really, I believe wholeheartedly that when it comes to that, I want something for people. I don't want something from people. Erica and I's life has been completely changed because we have taken steps of faith and given of what God's given us. And he showed up time and time again. And for how he showed up, it's been way more valuable than what I gave. And my hope is that people get to experience that one day. You know, and there's some freedom that comes with it. And so, so we're, you know, we're not going to try beating everyone over the head with, you know, tithing every Sunday or something, but we do talk about it. What else we got? Any other questions online?
Is this the only service that there is a Sunday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If you want to go home, you can watch it again on YouTube.
Like on Wednesday, if you feel like you want to go to church again.
But no, as of right now, we only do one service on Sunday at 10 o'clock. So, but would you like to have another service?
I've been looking for this kind of spiritual energy
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like wanting to soak it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'd love to offer a second service at some point, but right now we have fantastically huge space, which because of COVID, it works out well right now. Everyone can kind of spread out. But yeah, we'll see what happens here in the next couple of years. So, anything else? You can ask personal questions too. Eric and I have been married for 10 years. I don't know how God tricked her into marrying me, but I'm down with it.
You're all right.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm funny, so that works out good. All right, cool. Well, I want to respect your time. We did this for just about an hour, maybe it's 45 minutes. So if you're okay with it, I'd like to pray for you guys, or we can pray together. And Eric and I will be around for the next few minutes. You can come ask us questions and grill us, whatever you want to do. Let me pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for the adventure of life that you've called us to. God, I pray that when it comes to doing life with other fellow Christians, God, I pray that you would call us to a place that where we need to be planted and where you can challenge us to grow. And God, ultimately, Lord, I pray that that you would use the relationships that we're building even now to further your kingdom. Pray that as people see you change us, that they would see that there's something better out there than maybe what they're dealing with right now. I pray that as you have your effect on us, God, I pray would give people hope for the future, that things can be different. And so, God, I pray for whatever our next steps are, for how we're supposed to grow. Lord, I pray that you would put a fire in us to do that. I pray that we would not be content with just being comfortable, but we would live out the challenging call that you've given us to go into the world and to be a light. And I thank you for that opportunity. Continue to have your way in our life. Continue to have your way in Coastline. And I believe that as we follow you, the best is still yet to come. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Sweet. Love you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your week.
Property manager.
Huh?
How do you become property manager?
How to become property manager. Yeah, no, we can keep going. It's no worry.
I don't want to hold everyone up.
My dad was a property manager at a condo here in town for about 6 years. And Eric and I have been living here for 6 or 8 years, something like that. And so he got to a point where he didn't want to do it anymore. And he had asked me to come help him with half the stuff he had ever done anyway. So I knew the building. So there was probably a little nepotism there or whatever getting in. But yeah, so.
Provide you with a place to live?
Yeah, so part of the, I get a small salary from him, but the cooler part is I get to live in a basement condo on the beach. So we don't really have like a beach view unless you like stand on our couch and crank your head. You can kind of see the water, but we get to walk out and around the building and the beach is right there. So
Which one is it?
Coronado Towers. It's the last one right there at Crawford. So